Year 2024 to almost everybody, but all of you. Okay. All right, so let me say a few things. First, on the border, our negotiators are here now, and they have been negotiating with the administration, who's now very closely involved all over the holiday break. We're making progress. We're closer than we have been, but this is a very difficult issue, and there are still different things, different issues to be overcome with. What I'd say to the House, it's very nice you go to the border. Sorry. As to the House, it's very nice you go to the border, but the way to get something done is work, as we are in the Senate, on a bipartisan solution to the border crisis, which will then unlock money for Ukraine, Israel, the Indo-Pacific, and humanitarian aid for the people in Gaza. As for the budget negotiations, we've made real good progress in that regard, and we're getting quite close. I'm hopeful that we can get a budget agreement soon, and I'm hopeful that we could avoid a shutdown. Given the progress we've made, that is certainly not out of the question, as some people have said it would be. So I think that's it. Anything else?
Leader Schumer,
Did I say everything I want to say?
is it your intention to bring up a supplemental before you do government funding?
Look, we've got to get agreements on each of these, and we'll see how the two fit together. If they fit together at all.
How concerned are you that if you get a bipartisan deal that can get 60, 70 votes over here, that it will run into a stone wall over there?
Well, as I said, the only way we're going to get any of this done is in a bipartisan way. When the House clings to H.R. 2 as the only solution, which every Democrat has voted against, I believe both House and Senate, certainly every Democratic senator voted against it. I think every Democratic House member voted against it as well. If not, it was almost everyone. We're not going to get a deal. But I think that if we pass something in the Senate, and look, we're working hard to get that done, but as I said, it's hard. But Democrats, we know that we believe strongly we have to help solve this problem at the border, and we're willing to meet the Republicans, a good part of the way. I think now in the last few days, many Republicans have begun to realize that we are willing to do that, and how serious we are about getting this done. But wait, let me just finish. But I think if the Senate gets something done in a bipartisan way, it will put enormous pressure on the House to get something done as well, and not just to let these hard-right people get up and say the 30 of them, to dictate how the whole country should work, because what they believe is clearly in the minority of the Republican Party and of the country.
Shouldn't you have the Speaker involved at this stage, though, sir? Wouldn't it make sense to have Speaker Johnson involved in the negotiations so that you knew that he could get the votes?
Look, he's been quite involved in the budget negotiations on the border since their position has been they're not budging off H.R. 2. We want to get the Senate to come to an agreement first.
Senator, do you have any response? There are new allegations made by the federal prosecutors in the case against Senator Menendez, saying that he may have accepted bribes both from the Qatari government and the Egyptian government.
As I've said before, Senator Menendez, his behavior as reported in these indictments is way below the standard of a senator, and it's deeply disappointing and disturbing to me.
How long are you
Yes,
willing
next.
How long are you willing to wait for this border deal before you consider other options for the supplemental? Is there a hard stop date?
Look, getting a border is very important, and right now, because our Republican colleagues have tied it to Ukraine, Israel, Indo-Pacific, and aid to Gaza, we want to get the border deal done, and we want to get it all done as a package. That's what we're trying to get done.
Any discussion of more tying conditions to the Israel aid? There are a lot of Democrats who are starting to be very upset with what's happening in Gaza.
The bottom line is that we're going to have discussions on this issue. First, we got to come to an agreement on border. Okay, I will do one or two more.
Leader Schumer? The Speaker's border trip.
I did. I'll say it again. For your benefit, Mr. Alexander.
I get a question.
It's very nice.
I get to ask questions.
Yes, it's very nice that they have a trip to the border, but the only way to solve this is here, working in a bipartisan way with Senate Republicans, Senate Democrats, and House Democrats to get it done. period. And I hope the Speaker will realize that if he wants to solve the problem on the border.
Leader Schumer, do you have any reaction to this arms sale, the State Department bypassing congressional authority on Friday? Do you have any reaction to that, perchance?
Look, the State Department believes, as I believe, that Israel needs to get the materials it needs to defend itself against Hamas. Last
Schumer.
one, go ahead.
On the border talks, before the break, some of your Democratic colleagues expressed some serious concerns about the substance of what they're talking about in these negotiations, about possibly returning to some of the policies that were in play
Look,
under former
the
President
border
Trump.
is, we need to fix the border. There's virtually unanimous agreement among Democrats and Republicans about that. We just have to figure out how to do it in a way that can get 60 votes here in the Senate and a majority of votes there in the House, and get to the president's desk. So everyone's going to have to give something to get this done. No one can just get his or her own way. Look, I know how hard it is to do immigration reform. I was the last leader. I wasn't leader then. I was the last senator, along with John McCain, to pass bipartisan immigration reform. It's hard, but if 2013 is an indication, if you work at it, don't let the frustrations, which are myriad, get in your way, you can actually get something done. I'm hopeful, despite all the difficulties that we can.
Are you concerned?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.